So I've just jumped into Nuke to just quickly show how to shuffle out those AOVs. So this is the Nuke interface, and the first thing I'm going to do in here is create a read node. So I'm going to hit R on my keyboard, and that's going to bring up this thing where I can select my files that I want to read. So Nuke works with read and write nodes. So write is rendering out your comp, and read is your files, your source files. So I've got a Flames and a Skull EXR here, so I'm going to bring in both of those. If you have an image sequence, it'll automatically bring in the sequence, but these are just single images right now. So I'm going to choose open. It's going to create my read node. I'm just going to make another one by hitting R again and bring in the flames as well. Now you'll see that they're just black at the moment. You can't actually see anything. The way to actually preview them up here is to select one and hit any number from 1 all the way up to 0, and that will see attach it to the viewer. And so if I hit 2, I can then go 1 and 2 to switch between them. But we're not actually seeing anything right now because in our base layer you can't actually see anything because of the way we set up the AOVs. Now if I go to my beauty channel, you can see my skull there. So all I did was just choose what I was seeing in the viewer here, and I chose to see beauty. Now we're going to need to shuffle out all of those AOVs. So you can see I've also got my direct diffuse, which is very dark. I've got my direct specular, which is the reflection coming off the lights. I've got my indirect diffuse, which is also very dark because my skull's quite black. And my indirect specular, which is the bounce reflection. And I've got alpha. So I'm just going to shuffle all of these out and rebuild them to get that beauty pass. So in order to do that, I'm going to select this and I'm going to hit tab to bring up my node thing, and I'm going to choose shuffle. I'm going to type SH, choose a shuffle node, and now you'll see up here it brings that node up, and I can choose which element I want to shuffle out. So if I wanted to shuffle out the beauty node, then I would just be seeing that there. So if I show you this one, I see nothing, but I'm still on RGBA. And if I look at this one, still on RGBA, I see the beauty pass, and that's because I've used that shuffle node to shuffle it out. So I might just leave that there for now, and I might bring in some more shuffle nodes. I know that I need 4 of them. So, oops, I've attached that. I can hit Control-Shift-X to pull that out. So I'm just going to duplicate this, Control-C, Control-V, Control-V, Control-V. So I've got my 4 shuffle nodes. Sorry, just dragged it onto that viewing. So now I'm viewing this shuffle anyway. So I'm just going to plug all these shuffle nodes into here, and I'm going to set them into each element. So the first one is going to be, I'm double clicking by the way to bring it up here. So whichever one you double click will be up the top there. So I'm double clicking, I'm going to make this first one direct diffuse. Double click, make the second one direct specular. Double click. Sorry, bear with me. Doesn't seem to be bringing up. It's not bringing up my 4th shuffle because it's already up here. I'm just going to limit the number of nodes I can see here to 3. Might just pull that one out for now. Oh, I see. It was stuck on the thing. So anyway, so I'm going to bring out direct diffuse, indirect diffuse. I'll just copy and paste another shuffle node. Plug that guy in, and this one is going to be indirect specular. So now I have these 4 shuffle nodes, and if I just run through 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I need to merge those guys together. So I'm going to use merge nodes to do that. So I'm going to hit tab and bring up a merge node. And again, I need 1, 2, 3 of these. So Control C, Control V, Control V. Now the way the merge node is A over B, so I want to drop these second ones over these first ones. So I'm going to make this one B because it's underneath, and this one A. Now if I view that, you can't see much, but basically it's taking that base diffuse and dropping that reflection over it. I'm going to do the same here, A over B. So 2, 1, 2. Now you can't see a lot of difference, and that's because my skull is so black that it's not getting much light reflected on it. So unfortunately that's just the way the render is. If I drop this one over the top, you should see a big difference between these two. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can see I'm adding that reflection over the top. So now if I look at this beauty pass compared to this, they're identical. So I'm just switching between them by hitting 1 and 3 because I've set this one as 1 and this one as 3, and they're identical, and that's because I've shuffled out all those details and merged them back together again. So, you know, say I wanted to change the color of this light reflection for whatever reason, I can hit tab and add like a grade node. Maybe I want to like give it kind of a green tinge. Actually, no, the gain isn't the right, probably not the right one. Or maybe I want to brighten it up, darken it down. So I'm not going to dig too much into these grade nodes right now, but you can play around with all that kind of stuff. Maybe you'd want to use a color correct instead. Sorry. And then you could control just the shadows or the midtones or the highlights or the whole thing, and you can play with bringing that up or down, adding a bit of a tint. That doesn't seem to be having much effect. Scrap that one, and let's try a hue shift. This is the easiest way. Grab that hue shift, and you can just slide through the hue rotation, change the colors, bring that brightness up. So I'm only affecting that second reflection layer. So that's just a nice sort of thing you could do. Now I've got my flames. I'm just going to hit 2 to bring that up in the viewer. It's just black. I need to shuffle out the beauty pass. So with that selected, I'm going to hit tab, shuffle, and I'm going to go up here and say, do the beauty pass. So that gives me my flames. And then I'm going to create another merge node. So tab, M, E, R, merge. I'm going to drop those flames, A over B, over the top of here. And that gives me my comped skull. Now, you know, I may want to add a glow in here, so I'll hit tab and choose glow. That gives me this glow node, and up here I can, you know, mess around with how much I want those flames to glow. If I want to disable this hue shift, I can just select it and hit D, and it'll just turn it off for now. So that's a basic setup. One more thing, if I wanted to merge this onto a colored background, I could hit tab C and bring up a constant. That's just like a solid color. Now I'm just going to check the size of this. So up here you can see that this image is 960 by 540. So I'm going to go into my constant and make sure that this one matches. And then I'm going to make a merge node, and I'm going to drop that skull over that constant. Now what you're going to see is that if I change the color of this constant, it's not giving me a proper alpha when I drop that skull over, right? So it's sort of like, yeah, like, I don't know, the black is transparent and the white is not. So, and that's because this guy here has no alpha because I haven't shuffled that alpha out. So to fix that, I'm going to shuffle it out first. So I'm going to grab this skull and choose Tab SH Shuffle. Sorry, I'm going to not grab it because it's going to add it into the script. So I'll do it this way instead. So I'm going to shuffle out that alpha. So up here I'm choosing alpha. And then I'm going to use a copy node to copy that alpha into here. So I'm going to grab this end node here and choose Tab Copy. And by default, a copy node will copy the alpha from one node to another. Now I want the alpha from this guy onto this guy. So I'm pretty sure it's A is where you get the alpha and B is where you attach it. So now you can see that no matter what color I make this constant underneath, that alpha is holding out that skull completely. So that's just a real quick setup in Nuke. And there you go.